the Wiccan Rede. Bide the Wiccan law you must, in perfect love and perfect trust. Live and let live, fairly take and fairly give. Cast the circle thrice about to keep all evil spirits out. To bind the spell well every time, let the spell be spoke in rhyme. Soft of eye and light of touch, speak little and listen much. Docile go by the waxing moon, sing and dance the witches' rune. Widdershins go by the moon doth wane, and where the werewolf howls, by the dread wolf's bane. When the lady's moon is new, kiss the hand to her times two. When the moon rides at her peak, then let your heart's desire speak. Heed the north wind's mighty gale, lock the door and drop the sail. When the wind blows from the east, expect the new and set the feast. When the wind blows from the south, love will kiss you on the mouth. When the west wind blow o'er thee, departed souls restless be. 9 woods in the cauldron go, burn them fast and burn them slow. Elder is the lady's tree, burn it not, or curse you'll be. When the wheel begins to turn, soon the Beltane fires will burn. When the wheel has turned to Yule, light the log, let Pan rule. Heed the flower, bush and tree, by the lady blessed be. Where the rippling waters go, cast a stone, the truth you'll know. When you have and hold in need, hearken not to others' greed. With a fool no season spend, nor be counted as his friend. Merry meet and merry part, bright the cheeks and warm the heart. Mind the threefold laws you should, 3 times bad and 3 times good. When misfortune is enow, wear the blue star upon your brow. True in love ever be, unless thy love is false to thee. 8 words the Wiccan Rede fulfill, and it harm none, do what ye will. I want to go in further with the Wiccan Rede. And it's always a sacred time when the Wiccan Rede crosses your path. I've been involved with magic for over 20 years publicly. And when this crossed my path, it was before Google. It's almost embarrassing saying that, but now we do have the internet, and so I invite you to do some research on it because there's many different variations, and many people will change it to fit them and their spirituality, as well as you'll find people claim it as theirs. So there's lots of different people that were claiming this as theirs. So Google into it if you want to know more information about it. But when the Wiccan Rede crossed my path, it gave me a lot of meaning. And I want to go through what I feel the Wiccan Rede means, what it means to me. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the first line. Bide the Wiccan law ye must, in perfect love and perfect trust. Now, to me, that means that we should all live according to the Wiccan laws with an attitude of perfect love and perfect trust to all. And the perfect love and perfect trust are actually the passwords for the first degree initiation rituals. For those who are in my Wiccan class, be sure to remember that for your initiation. The other thing it means to me is that not only are we living in perfect love and perfect trust to ourselves, we're honoring our heart and our feelings, that we are able to live and we let ourselves live fairly. We try to stay balanced, and we believe in the action of giving and receiving. So fairly take and fairly give. That involves with how we spend our money, that involves our relationships, and we don't believe in over-sacrificing ourselves. We don't believe that the universe would want us to over-sacrifice ourselves for things that, that are not truly meant for us, or to make other people's, rides in life easier. So this reminds us that whatever actions we are taking, what is it that we're receiving from it? And if it's nothing, and it's like you're just fixing someone's boo-boo, then you have to think about that, because it is affecting you on a different level. The same with, doing a lot of taking. Sometimes in our relationships, there's people that give more and there's people that take more. Well, our relationships are meant to be balanced. And when things are in a balanced state, we find that that authentic power, or we go into that neutral power, and that's where we're most powerful. So in your life, live in love and trust to yourself. Let yourself live. I mean, have you realized that the word live is also evil backwards? That is not a coincidence. For people to live freely and actually do the things that they want is a huge thing nowadays. And in the old days, people would get killed for it. So these first two lines represent a lot. Live and let live. Fairly take and fairly give. To me, it means live ye must. So live how you want. Live how you must. And let yourself live it that way. Fairly take and fairly give. Respect people. Respect nature. Treat others as you wish to be treated. It's that simple. Cast the circle thrice about to keep all evil spirits out. I like to say, form a circle thrice about to keep unwelcome spirits out. Because some people's good spirits may not be good to others. So I like to say unwelcome. Sometimes I'll use evil, depending on the energy and where I am. We cast the circle 3 times because it's sacred to us. And it's a magical number that represents many different things. The law of 3, but it also symbolizes the 3 aspects of the god and also the 3 aspects of the goddess and the moon phases. To bide the spell well all the time, let the spell be spoke in rhyme. That is something that's important to us. Out there nowadays, you can Google a spell and there it is, and you can, do the spell. But it is always more magical to do your own spell. And those who are dedicated to their practice will write their own spells. And we like to do the spell in rhyme. And the reason why we speak in rhyme is because it creates something beautiful, but it's also because it gives our conscious mind something to focus on, allowing the subconscious mind to tap into the power and work magic and connect to our higher self and our higher planes. And that's something that you want to consider in your magic. Our higher self is connected to the higher planes of existence, or the higher realms of spirit. The other reason why we like to do our spells in rhyme is because when we're writing a spell or a chant and we're going into it for guidance on the rhyme, as we start to write, we usually get spoken to and our guidance will kick in and it gives us the next rhyming word. And so we learn how to invoke spirit by writing out our spells and listening to the rhyme that comes into our mind as we're doing it. Now, of course, when we write our spell work in the circle as cast, we can trust what's in there because any spirit that is giving us guidance is connected to us personally. Soft of eye, light of touch, speak ye little, listen much. And what that means is it's important for us to be gentle in life. Take a look at how you see things. Is there too much judgment in it? Are your instincts working too hard at protecting you? Be gentle in life. Sit back. Listen. Listen rather than talk. And when you speak, speak with care and thought. It usually weighs more weight. And speaking manifests. So when we speak, we want to speak with intention, with meaning, with purpose. Docile go by the waxing moon. Sing and dance, the witch's rune. And so when the moon is growing, we move around the sacred circle clockwise. And to us, it brings in good fortune. So the waxing moon is the power of receiving. And so we focus on the things that we want, the things we want to receive. But in that time of the waxing moon, the universe brings things you're meant to receive. So we can pay attention during those 2 weeks to what it is that the universe wants us to receive in our life. Maybe it's a blessing. Maybe it's a lesson. Maybe it's something that you're meant to connect with. And the witch's rune is sacred. And I'll be going into that in another video. Widdershins go by the waning moon. Chant out the baleful tune. So docile in magic means clockwise, and widdershins means counterclockwise. And so when the moon is waning, and that is 2 weeks after the full moon, it is considered widdershins for 2 weeks. And that is a time of release. So everything in our life that is meant to go or be taken care of comes in. Sometimes that's the time when all of our bills come in. Like, why do they all come during the same week? Well, you're probably connected to the moon, and so it's probably coming when the moon is waning. So when the moon wanes, things come up that we need to release and let go of on our path. And when the moon does wane, or during the full moon and going into the Witterchin's time, if we hear a howl, so you see and where the werewolf's howls by the dreads wolf bane. Anytime we hear a howl during that time, it's time that we need to banish. And so Wittershins go by the waning moon, chanting out the baleful tune. And that howl is the baleful tune. And so when the moon is shrinking, we move around the sacred circle counterclockwise. And this is to banish negativity. So in magic, anytime we need to release something, let go of something, or get rid of negativity, we will do that during the waning moon. When the lady's moon is new, kiss the hand to her times two. So when the moon returns after its new phase, we always welcome her by kissing your blessing fingers. If you're in the sacred circle, you would know your blessing fingers. We would kiss our two blessing fingers to her. And when the moon rides at her peak, then your heart's desire do seek. And that is the time of the full moon. Energy and power are at their fullest, their highest. And those who live near me, we're on the East Coast. I live on the Bay of Fundy, which is the place of the highest tides in the world. And so we live in a powerful place, moon power. And so when the moon rides at her peak, it is the highest time of power. And it's a good time to do our magic with good results. In the ancient times, the full moon was always a time when we could express what our true heart's desire was, whether it was releasing or calling in, or whether it was prayers. And this is something that we use because the moon has a cycle. It's a monthly cycle. So when we speak our heart's desire, we do it so that we can have the manifestation that we want by the next full moon. And sometimes our magic will be, goals for the year. But typically, whatever our heart's desire speaks during the full moon, that topic, those things are in play for the next month. And as we continue to practice it, our magic gets stronger or our outcomes become greater. I love this part of the read because I am an air person and I love air magic. When I stand outside and I can feel where the wind is blowing on me, I know exactly what type of magic I need to practice and what type of energy is in the air. So many of you in the Sacred Circle have taken the air magic class, and we also offer classes for the other elements, earth, air, fire, and water. So heed the north wind's mighty gale, lock the door and drop the sail. And so that represents the north element. It's earth and its correspondence to winter. It also represents the energy. Lock the door, drop the sail. So lock the door and take off, get in that boat and go. So the north wind has power. And it's always pushing us into the energy that we must be living or we should be living. It wants to give us our security. It wants to give us our health. And the energy of the earth is always in our present But when the wind blows from the north, there's power there. There's power in all of that. So don't pay attention to anything but where you want to go and what you want to do. When the wind comes from the east, expect the new and set the feast. I love the east wind. When the east wind blows, I know that the spirits are influencing where I'm headed. It has to do with the future and expecting something new in my life. So I always watch for the bliss in my everyday. And there's something that the universe wants us to celebrate. Set the feast for where you're headed. Your path is blessed. When the wind blows from the south, love will kiss you on the mouth. And that represents the south element. It represents fire. It also is representing our summer and our passion. So you want to think about the things that you are meant to be feeding energy into. What is your passion? What are you meant to create or speak? Maybe it's pulling you out of some kind of distraction. And when it comes to the south, we're either feeding a distraction or our passion. When the wind comes from the west, winds blow o'er thee, departed souls restless be. So the wind from the west always lets us know there's spirits. And usually it's the west wind that will blow through the house. So when the wind blows from the west, I know that my house sometimes gets that breezy air that shoots through an old window or even my door at times. My place is built in the 1776. There was 14 people living here, so it's very old. But when the wind blows from the west, that's when we know we need to open ourselves to communicate with the spirits, the departed spirits that love us and guide us, that they're around. And west winds represent healing that needs to happen. It represents something that needs refreshing. Maybe it's our mind, our emotions. Maybe it's how we're seeing things. But that is a doorway to the people that we love in the spirit world. And so when the wind blows, they're doing work. They're influencing our life. And so we can tap into that and we can call that spirit that we want to help. So that's the west wind. Nine woods in the cauldron go, burn them fast and burn them slow. And that's huge. For us, we do have 9 woods, and we actually pay attention to how they burn, what the smoke does. It all tells us something. But the 9 sacred woods that are burned all have different properties that we use, different spiritual properties, and we use these woods during certain rituals. And they are burnt in our cauldron. So some people have smaller cauldrons. They can burn the twigs or some bark. Some people like to add the leaves. But the 9 sacred woods that we have where we are in Canada is the apple, the birch, the fir, the hawthorn, the hazel, the oak, the rowan, the vine, and the willow. So those are 9 of them. But we don't want to forget the elder, because the elder tree is the lady's tree. And so we believe that each one of these trees are a portal of power. And so the elder tree is known as the lady's tree because when she wants to come into our world as a Middle Earth spirit, she will come through the portal of an elder tree. There's always a goddess energy around the elder tree. And so if we cut it or we burn it, it's known to be cursed. And so we never burn elder. It's always spared. And so even when I get my elderberries or my elder syrup, I get it from people who make it, who process it. I would never go and cut or pick off of the tree myself. When the wheel begins to turn, soon the Beltane fires will burn. And that represents the wheel of the year. It represents Beltane, the spring, and the fire festival. And when the wheel has turned to Yule, light the log, let Pan rule. And in many other ones, let the horned god rule, because it could be Cernunnos. So during the time of Yule, we know that that is a time that the god comes into rule. It comes into our plane and helps us. And that's also one of the reasons why Christianity has chosen Jesus to be born in December. And it also represents the turning of the wheel. So when the wheel begins to turn, soon the Beltane fires will burn. And as the wheel turns to Lammas, night power is brought into magical rites. There's 4 times the minor Sabbats fall, and we use the sun and the god to mark them all. And when the wheel has turned to Yule, we light the log, and the horned one rules. And that horned one does not represent the devil. The horned one represents masculinity, and in ancient times it represented the sacred stag, and it also represented certain gods. Gods of, like I said before, Cernunnos and Pan. In the spring, when the night equals the day, it's time for Astara or Ashtar to come our way. And when the sun has reached its height, time for oak and holly to fight. Harvesting comes to one and all, when the autumn equinox does fall. So that represents the entire wheel of the year. And the wheel of the year is very sacred to our magic, because we are natural beings. Just like the trees, we go through the changes as well. So we can implement those in our magic and manifestations. Heed the flower, bush, and tree, by the lady blessed be. So this means to me, respect nature and her bounty. Take care of our world. We are connected to the divine. And so when we are connected to our magic, we have a connection to all of nature. And we can use every flower, bush, and tree. And we know that when we're tapping into the love and the power of nature and those elemental things that we use in our magic, they are blessed by the lady because she created them. And our magic is blessed because all of these natural things are pure and good. Where the rippling waters go, cast a stone, the truth you'll know. It's true. First, it can also represent a metaphor for our actions, right? Because everything we do and everything we create creates that wave as if we're throwing a stone. You can see that rippling effects. We do that when we speak. We do that when we perform. But it also represents something that we can do. We can cast a stone, and depending on those ripples that we see, we know the answer to things. So we can ask a question, cast a stone, and by the number of ripples, we know yes or no. And there's many things that we can do with the power of a stone, a simple little stone or a crystal or gemstone, as well as the magical power of water. And nature doesn't lie. So whenever we tap into things, whether it's reading tea leaves or reading flowers or stones or casting them, not only do we cast a stone in the water, we cast our runes, our witches' stones. We can cast stones and we'll know things. When you have and hold a need, hearken not to others' greed. And that means be true to yourself. Be true to yourself and not the ideas of others. You have no need to envy anyone who has more than you. Give thanks for what you have and believe in the power of what you want. And so when this comes up, anytime that we hold a need, we should perform some kind of magic or ritual or prayer or meditation, something spiritual, do some cards, do something. But don't go into the need of greed. Are you feeding your true self, or are you feeding an ego? An ego is good once it's tamed. It will give you the guidance that you need. But before it starts giving you guidance, it gives you fear and doubt, because you have to learn and know yourself. So make sure that in your actions, you're holding that need and that desire and those positive things that you want. And it's not about the greed to show somebody up or to do better than them or to compete over them. There is no competition in magic. Anybody can have all the success in the world, and you should not judge. If it's created, it is something that we can tap into. I believe in the power of my people. And I also believe in the power of everything they want. And even though they have their dreams and goals, I still feel that is limited. The universe wants way more than we can ever imagine. So we have the ability to live that wholesome life and that life where we can feel free in a way where we're not greedy. With a fool no season spend, nor be counted as his friend. And this is important because people will associate you. They associate you with who you are and what you do, but also who's in your circle. And very clearly I can see that my circle and my people are connected to their magic. They have the support where they want to go. They know how to connect. They're not foo-foos. They don't do foo-foo magic. They don't say, oh, I'm doing a full moon ceremony, and don't. They're the real deal. And so people will associate you with the company you keep and who you hang around with. And if you are hanging around with fools, you're going to be seen as one too. So magically, we believe in the people that we hang around with. We believe in their power and their essence and where they want to go, and we're connected in that way. We will not associate ourselves for people who are greedy, who are using spirituality only as a source of money, who steal other people's ideas and try to teach it without actual ability. So take a look. Who are the true people in your life? Because the true good people in your life are beneficial. They're not going to keep pulling you down. They're not going to abuse you. They're not going to put you in a negative mood. They're going to believe in you. And so we believe that if we have a connection to someone that is not beneficial for us in our life, It's nice. We'll say hi. We'll be nice. But we will not let them be part of our life. Just like I won't let certain people do the sacred circle training or enter our circle. My community, my people that I'm associated with, my soul sisters, everyone who is associated with me, I have a positive connection to. And if it's not, they go. I don't believe in having anyone in my life that's negative. It doesn't matter if they're family or friends. Merry meet and merry part, bright the cheeks and warm the heart. And so when we use that, it means that it's important for us to be true to ourselves. Be true and good to your friends and family. And it's important for you to take comfort into your relationship. Take pleasure in their company as they do in yours. And so you're a light. We believe that we are a light in this dark world. Actually, I don't believe this world is dark. I just believe that all the darkness is like untamed mentality or impressions of people's mundane mentality. But I believe that when someone is in front of me, they're there for a reason. And so for me, it is my duty to be respectful and to be open to the experience that I'm meant to have with that person, whether it's a simple hi or a conversation or something that is, a lesson for me to learn or guidance. I believe that if they're within my bubble area, they are meant to be, either for me or for them or for both. So we want to be open. We don't want to be, walking around like we're, these pretend fairy tale witches that nobody wants to come around. You need to be open. You need to be bright and honor that. Your heart is warm. You're good. Your essence is needed. And the universe has people waiting for you. In so many ways. Think about all of the unknowns with people that are meant to walk your path. And many times people will miss an opportunity because they let something stupid ruin their day. So if we're in a higher vibration and we're warm and we're happy and we're honoring the energy and where we are in the now, we're being present, it is going to be merry. And it's going to warm our hearts. Mind the threefold law you should. 3 times bad and 3 times good. So this means exactly what it says. Mind it. Pay attention to the law of 3. Whatever actions you take will come back to you, multiplied 3 times. But what we love about this is that we come together. Those that come and join the sacred circle in our ceremonies, there's way more power than 3 in that. But that power that we unleash will be multiplied by 3. So 3 and the threefold law is so magical. And like I said earlier, I will do a video of that in the future about the threefold law. But every action, 3 times good, 3 times bad. When misfortune is a now, wear the blue star upon your brow. So whenever we are dealing with something that is trouble, or something where we feel like we need protection, or we're dealing with stress, we will invoke the star on our third eye. And so that is something that is magical, and that every person, well, probably each person listening to this, should practice doing, is invoking or visualizing a blue star being put onto your third eye. And in magic, when we visualize a blue star on our third eye or on our forehead, we are protected from harm. And so if you are someone that can visualize it, some people will even just draw it with their finger on their forehead before they leave and go somewhere. If you have fear, if you're in an argument with someone, you can use this whenever we're in a troublesome situation. And it is true. It will protect us. So practice. Maybe put the blue star on your brow and go out for the day and see how it influences you. It's very powerful. And there's been times where I've called it for help. True in love ever be, unless thy love is false to thee. So trust in love. Trust in love ye must ever be, lest thy love be false to thee. Be true. Be loyal in love, but don't be a fool. If your love cheats, you got to give him the elbow. You don't want to be in a relationship where there will not be true love. And some people do experience something where there is a lover that cheats and they've healed from that, and that's awesome. But this represents being true in love. Honor your heart. Our relationships influence our path. And don't think that you can't leave. Because if you feel like they aren't in love with you, or you're not in love with them, it is universal. You can leave. You are able to leave. And in the ancient times before religion, we were able to leave our spouses if they were better, considered better than the one you were with. I find that quite interesting. And even for me, I believe that if I'm not happy, I can leave. Like, it's no big deal. Leave. And it is a big deal for some people because history means so much. Well, that's what memories are for. So we want to make sure that we are being true to the people in our family. We are being true to our children. We're being true to our lovers. We're being true to our friends, to our spouses. Eight words the Wiccan Rede fulfills, and it harm none, do what ye will. So if it harms no one, feel free to do as you want. Go for the things that you want. Break your own barriers and blocks. Do what you will. That is our Wiccan law. I hope that you received something out of this. And the things that connected with you are also messages. And once in a while, it's something that you should read and listen to. A lot of people like to print this out and put it into their book of shadows or put it into a frame and hang it on the wall. But every time you listen to it, think about what hits you. Because the Wiccan Rede also represents how we work our magic. There's instructions in it. And this is very general, that information that I put together for you. There's so much more to learn about it. But this is a start. And I hope you enjoy it. Many blessings to you always. Take care. Bye-bye.